I want to just welcome everybody, and then we're gonna also start in a little bit. I'm gonna introduce Brandon, our Yaj. He's gonna take over from here, he'll introduce himself. We're so happy he's here with us today. Look, this is his coming in, but there's refreshments got here. I'm gonna grab yours.
Good morning, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Brandon Piestewa. I'm the late son of I'm the son of the late, Lori Piestewa. She was the first Native American woman to be killed overseas back in 2000 in Operation Pineapple Field. So I'm just completely honored and to be asked to be emceeing this event. It's a little bit out of my comfort, so please bear with me today. Usually I'm before middle school and high school students where I can rowdy and make jokes and do all my fun stuff for the kids. So just please bear with me today. And like you said, in about 5 minutes, so if everyone can please start finding their seats in about 5 minutes, we'll start the ceremony and then thank you.
I can see it.
So we doing?
Oh, good.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
What's your name?
Terry.
Oh, okay. I'm the coordinator for the Navajo conference. Yeah, so we're hosting our Navajo talk today, Friday. And then my grandpa's coming to see you guys Saturday. Yeah. And she is our last combat co-talker that's still alive. So she'll be Flagstaff at City Hall on Saturday.
I'll be down there. Dude,
Good. Have a poster of all our culture this was just all short notice for us that we learned.
So
We just see, oh, this is
still
gonna-
laying around the house.
oh yeah, because I shipped all my decorations, all my stuff to Windsor Rock, and then we're putting up for the big event. Out in the US. Have that every year. But I live in Flagstaff.
Oh, yeah.
And they tell me, I was like, I'm urban radical. And they get mad at me, like, okay. I try, but I come in a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
that's-
fun to try.
I did not have a suit fight.
Shoot, you got everybody good to hike too.
No, I fly in. I got that luxury. Or right out.
The pass. Oh, nice. You
Yeah,
get to-
no, I do set up for all the tourists. To be, all that.
It's very easy.
I love it.
Do everything to be so glad. Really nice to get everything they should.
And there's like I have a phone number to medical transport.
Top of it.
Yeah, that I started here in Flagstaff.
Nice.
So I do that and then monthly service. All this other sides. And I am a distributor of several.
Yes.
And they're like, no, you need to do this. So I'm like,
Everything ends now too.
but it keeps me going.
Like,
And I love Flagstaff. So
yeah, it's like that's the movie. It's like things get, like what we would do anyway. Of course, it'll be wild people.
it's the beauty of it, like all the cultural aspects of it. I was down in Gallup on Thursday for the intertribal ceremony. So they had that big ceremonial here. So
Before we get finished, if you guys can please start to find your seats or again. Like I said, thank you guys for coming out today. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be here with you all.
all right.
Also want to give a very special
But the
welcome
event,
to you guys coming here today to honor all Indigenous talking during the celebration. As we prepare, I'd like to just like remind of the past, present, and future generations of military service. Remember that this place, this day, where we're at, is a special day. So as we're here today, gathered in celebration, because keep in mind that our minds, hearts, with the whole of this, as we remember those who have fallen, who are still serving, and those who are future generations continue to serve. And at this time, I'd like to welcome the posting of the colors from the Marine Corps League San Francisco Peaks Detachment by Color Guard. As you please stand. Ready? Oh. Okay. Breathe that. Colors. Please stay standing as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation. Post colors. Right face. And a half step forward, march. Please remain standing and we welcome Dorothy Nation with an opening prayer.
Good morning, out there. My name is Dorothy. association and adamın bilgileri can başış chain chain and I'm currently working at Native Americans for community action. I started there just a few years ago, like 37 years ago. So, but my sister Rose asked me to do the invocation and posting notification in Navajo. And I'm actually to pray alongside me and follow the word, address your higher power. Pero yo no le pensaba, in this couple the district the one champion. So the son of the one champion, the son of the one trying to kind of thought of them. The other strong to change it so strong to change it so doesn't bring that so doesn't bring much happen. Oh, the deep benefit. The whole sleeping national home happening. Teaching in national top like the history to the home happening. Let's like it's interesting the honey type spot in China without spot. Although quantum which is shows either the magic formula of the Japan compared to the it just the magic formula kill the magic formula he's a really the magic formula isn't that my mom that I know and the magic formula is signing those educating and being pointed out property and trying out property only trying out property. It corner. I haven't done it all. It's not on the law. I don't cage. It's not on the law. Fortunately, I don't that on the right. That's kind of the corner. The Jeri DeCola secures in Socrates cousin of on the John Gapa. Natural means about kid that means I don't know it's not about tree that one. There's the last time I was in the John. I don't home carry to me the on CJ. Hey, I don't contract with any cabinet contract with my payments and that's not the true. So that you point out to everyone, nature. If you love so then making profit into the issue of but savings and the point so is in that it's happening. Hey, I don't I don't do teaching actually that means I don't want to teach trees. Or like what you want to then if I know you don't really talk to me. I thought you want something in the church. I don't want to talk to you. I don't you talking about stuff. There's the opinions and the understanding all. The young father, I thought that means the one trying to pass on the train on. One of the gym. They can't carry it, some down on the transfers in Chicago. You know, to point on it, to be back in the past, just to be since on the share on the campus. My dad's page is all. No, I don't see it in the campus. I do wish to use it as long as I need to be able to do something. So I know where she is, it's all and trying to get in the campus and don't want to Well, for the game that you know, so I'm already got a job in the team. So I'm not already got a job in the team. Because I was shown. So I should. Was on the screen. Was on the screen.
Thank you, Dorothy, for that wonderful. prayer. And now that as we continue to please welcome the Flagstaff City Council member, Lori Matthews, for the land acknowledgement.
Thank you so much. This is always such a personal honor, to be able to read this land acknowledgements, especially on a special day like this. So, Rose, thank you for asking me to read this. No idea what a privilege it is for me. The Flagstaff City Council humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's Indigenous Nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by native descendants, were now sacred to Indigenous people. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continuing contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever love to face this home.
Thank you, Lori. What a great morning, guys. What do you guys think? It's so beautiful out here on one of the Sacred Keys. It's such a beautiful morning to be here. And just to remember today means to us. Like I said in the beginning, as we come to this wonderful ceremony, make sure we are here with their mind, spirit, our heart full of joy, full of remembering, remembers the sacrifice. This day was baptized by God. Real quick, I just want to say there's breakfast refreshments out there and drinks sponsored by the Native American Community Action. There will be a slight lunch sponsored by the city of Flagstaff and our teaching kitchen and drinks. And then we also want to thank the lunch also being sponsored by Derek Lance Electricity. So please give them a big round of applause for that. As we go into our next segment, we are going to do the welcome message of the Indigenous Talkers Proclamation by Flagstaff Mayor Becky Daggett.
Morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you all for being here. This annual event is, I think, for a lot of us, a very, very special event where we can come together and honor the warriors who turned the tide on World War II. And I learned something new every year. I thought that I knew the story of the Code Talkers, but I think this is probably my fifth event. And every year I learn something new. And so I'm appreciative of all of the organizers for allowing us this space to honor and to learn and to come into community with each other. Since the Revolutionary War, the United States has been privileged to have members of Indigenous nations serve in its armed forces. From the bravery demonstrated at Valley Forge and the establishment of the U.S. Indian Scouts on August 1st, 1866, to the present day, Indigenous warriors and defenders have always heeded the call to duty. Though often excluded from the records of United States history, our Indigenous brothers and sisters have defended the only land they have ever known, asking for nothing more than opportunity in return. We express appreciation for Indigenous nations who have served our nation in times of war through their extraordinary talents, unwavering service, and ultimate sacrifice, helping preserve the lives of others. Members of the Hopi, Navajo, Pueblos of Oklahoma and Laguna, Tonto Apache, White Mountain Apache, and as many as 30+ nations use their distinct indigenous languages as effective battlefield codes against the Germans in World War I and the Japanese and Germans in World War II. Paul Burdette, rebel, was Apache when his nation was not and enrolled into the San Carlos Apache Nation so he could join the army during World War II. He honorably served as a code talker in the 10th Infantry Regiment, 5th Infantry Division. The Hopi code talkers were assigned to the Army and Army Air Forces during World War II. 8 of the 10 were assigned to the 81st Infantry Wildcat Division. In September 1944, the Hopi code talkers, by providing the ability to communicate securely, empowered the 81st Infantry Division to succeed in a difficult mission. The Navajo Nation, when called upon to serve the United States in the Pacific during World War II, sent a gallant group of men who utilized their language in coded form to help spread the Allied victory. Equipped with the only foolproof, unbreakable code in the history of warfare, the code talkers confused the enemy with an earful of sounds never heard by code experts. The dedication and unswerving devotion to duty showed by the men of the Navajo Nation in serving as radio code talkers in the Marine Corps during World War II should serve as an example for all Americans. Beyond this unique role, Indigenous people serving in the United States military forces have established an outstanding record of bravery and heroism in battle. Many have given their lives in the performance of their duty. Their record should be recognized and honored by all Americans. Now therefore I, Mayor Becky Daggett, Mayor of the City of Flagstaff, do hereby proclaim August 10th, 2026 as Indigenous Code Talkers Celebration.
Thank you, Mayor Daggett. Thank you, Mayor Daggett. Next on the agenda is the acknowledgements, and from Commissioner Rowena Levaya. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Before I get started, we would like to present. Anyways, really sorry. We would like to present Jeri DeCola with a copy of the proclamation. That was just read out by the mayor. So if Jeri, do you like one? Let's just get set. Okay, my name is Moana Lumambaya. I am a commissioner and coach of the Indigenous Commission for the city of Flagstaff. I'm hoping to go to Locola and then we still go to resident. And welcome to our celebration for Indigenous Flagstaff today. I'm a lovely person also. Happy Pueblo Wolf Day to my Moody and Pueblo community and family members. Today is the day for the thankful day of today's anniversary of the Wolf. So that's another thing today. But welcome to our event here. This is my second year being part of this commission and being part of this event, and it's something that I'm very excited to do another year. I'm here to just do some acknowledgements of individuals who have to attend our event today. So thank you to the city manager, John Keith, for being here, to Mayor Becky Daggett, Vice Mayor, Sweet, council members, and Stephen and F. Barker in the audience. So thank you for being here. Former Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nance, Coconino High School Indigenous Ambassador Ayana Wadsworth is here with us today. So we're being a member of our youthful community. One sec. Does somebody know how to work technology at all to help us? No. Okay, so I'll just try to talk loud. So again, thank you to former Navajo Nation President Jonathan Ness for being here today. Coconino High School Indigenous Ambassador Ayana Wadsworth. NAPA Director Chris David is here with us. And then I would also like to send out a thank you and escalate to our City of Flagstaff volunteers. Can anybody who's a volunteer raise your hand to the wave at me? Yeah, we get it. I would also like to welcome the other members. Huh? Is that better? Yes. Yeah, okay. I'd also like to welcome the other members of our Indigenous Commission. Could our other members of the commission stand up? Welcome, members of the Indigenous Peoples Advisory Council. And just so everybody knows, we are streaming this event live online. So if you have any family members or friends who can't be here today, let them know that it's online for them to see as well. And again, thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate you all coming out and spending the day with us about our Indigenous co-workers and kind of how veterans lead into the story of this. Now we want to pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Moana, for giving them the proper acknowledgement. So now we're at the part of the event where we'd like to welcome our keynote presentation. This will be by Jeri DeCola, niece to the late Tonto Apache co-talker Paul Burdette.
I'm sure. But anyway, I'm pleasantly surprised to be presented the proclamation by the city of Flagstaff. I really, really appreciate it and thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you. At this time, I have to call my husband, Jeri DeCola, up. He's a great veteran. Like Italian and he likes to talk, so.
I'm honored to be here. It's a great celebration for Coconut, and I'm honored to be one of them. All I can say is I want to salute all veterans that gave their lives and all the great co-workers that helped save this country. And that's all I'm gonna say to our listeners.
Go ahead. Eugene was all available. Good morning and greetings to all people on this beautiful day. I'm Jeri DeCola. I'm a member of the Tonto Apache Tribe. I currently serve my part-time as a manager
national and the cultural representative. At this time, I've already introduced my husband. I'm doing it. It's in my notes. But I served as a tribal chairperson when it was first created. Its journey as a tribe from 1986 to 1988, from 1993 to 1996, and my last term was 2016 to 2020. Through all my leadership, I've seen many transformations and many good things that have happened to my tribe. With the different opportunities that weren't afforded to us before we became a tribe. And currently I enjoy working with the culture department. I'm teaching my Tonto Apache students, young people, how to speak the language. It seems like the language was one of the things that all of us indigenous people are using slowly but surely, and we need to try to bring it back. It's who we are, it's our culture, it's our heritage, and we should not allow it to be gone and to be lost. It's an honor and a privilege here to be with you today, honoring all indigenous co-workers and their celebration. And remembering my uncle Paul Burdette, the first and only Tonto Apache co-worker. He was born August 15, 1922 in Bright Creek, nearby Sega. This is in the Tonto Basin area. His parents and my grandparents were Leslie Burdette and Burdette, both Tonto Apaches. Before I go into more detail about Paul Burdette, I'd like to share with you a little history and background as to where he came from. Our family, Uncle Paul and his mother, father, my mother, are the descendants of Tonto, the Burdette. But the Burdette have a strong history grounded in the Payson area where they lived for many centuries. In the fall and winter, they made their homes in the Tonto Basin and the Isla area in the warmer climate where it was nice and warm, and they grew crops, they cultivated, and they lived in harmony with the land at peace and enjoying their life. Fifth, until gold was discovered in the Black Mountains and the Tonto National Forest. From that time on, the prospector, soldier, and the miner gradually encroached on the land of the Tonto. After that, active warfare broke out between the two races. There was turmoil, unrest, and this continued into the 1970s, and when the last of the Tonto surrendered at Camp Verde. At Camp Verde, the Rio Verde Reserve was built, and it was established in 1871 to share with the Tonto Apache tribes. The reserve covered a large span area, 40 miles, with the Army's help, the Yavapai and Tontos built irrigation ditch and had 56 acres under cultivation in 1874. The reserve was dismantled due to the political whims of politics, even then in those days, when with the politicians saw how fertile and green the land was, they wanted it for themselves. And due to pressure from a group called the Tucson Rays, they took the fertile land from the valley and they closed the reserve. When the reserve was closed, the Tontos and the Yavapai were forcibly marched over the snow-capped high country, the Mogollon Rim, into the Payson area, down to Tonto Basin. And in the march, the waters were flowing with cold ice water. And yet, the army didn't have mercy, and they made them march through, whether they had shoes or not. And many died along the way. Fortunately, I'm one of the descendants that survived the trip, if you would call it that. Actually, there was a march. Anyway, the Tontos and the Yavapai were forced to live on the San Carlos Reservation, which was dry, barren, strange, and unknown to the people. It was like a concentration camp. They were very unhappy and didn't like living on the San Carlos Reservation. They were homesick for the nice, cool area, fertile land of the red country. However, with the surrender of Geronimo in 1886, between hostility between the whites and the Indians entered in Arizona, however, with few exceptions, Tonto, Apache, and Yavapai on the San Carlos Reservation were no longer under scrutiny. The prison-like atmosphere was relaxed, the restraints were gradually removed, and being in exile for 20+ years and being watched closely by the military, many Tontos gradually returned to the Payson area, to the land they yearned for, the land they loved, their ancestral land, homeland. After living at San Carlos, and when the Tontos returned, they discovered that during their absence, the ones had 7 on the camp and garden areas. So they simply occupied their former territory, which remained free from white settlements. They established camps on the East Verde near the mouth of the Sycamore Creek and to the northeast of the river near Weather Creek at Bicela, Tonto Basin, and other areas surrounding Casey. The Tonto Apache has continually occupied and lived in portions of the national forest since before its creation in 1905 to its present day. So you can say that Tonto National Forest was named after the Tonto Apaches. Not all Tontos returned to their homeland. Some chose to remain in San Carlos. Many of the returning Tontos worked in the construction of the Roosevelt Dam, which began in 1905 and completed in 1911. After the dam built, many of the Tonto men helped build the roads that winds through Peter County. As time went on, the Tontos established camps on what is called Indian Hill Basin. In early 1950, tribal people lived on Indian Hill, were forced off the land, and were able to settle south of Payson on the Tonto National Forest. We lived there for up until 1980, I believe it was. We still didn't have a reservation up to that point. Many of our men worked at the sawmill, including people called Burdette. Our men worked at Cha'Be'Tu Industries, a sawmill that was owned by the Cha'Be'Tu company, and they were given scrap lumber to build homes on the south end of town. In 1962, by U.S. Public Health Service, employee named Ricky Neely commented and saw how the Tonto Apaches were living in squatter up on south end of town. We had no running water, no indoor toilets, no electricity, and our roads were dirt, so whenever it rained, it would get all muddy, and 1 or 2 cars that were owned by the tribal people would get stuck, and we'd all have to push them out of the mud. And even the BIA was aware of our plight, but yet they said they would help us with anything because we were not a reservation again. However, due to the good heart of Representative Sam Stiver, he recognized the plight of the Tonto people who were living in hardship, and he introduced House Bill 3337 for us to get the land that we had. Many of our tribal representatives took trips to Washington, D.C., including my dad, Pat Smith, and my mother, Ola. And because of their tenacious trip and not giving up, the Tonto Apache was finally given status as a federally recognized Indian tribe on October 6, 1972. We were given 85 acres, and we were so proud of what we had that At that time, we were able to get services, the Indian Health Services, and even BIA was able to help. We were also eligible to apply for grants, so when we applied for give and HUD grants, we were able to build 20 homes on the new land. But we didn't move on to the site until 1980, which is where we are currently situated now. And even though Native Americans were the first inhabitants of land, but yet they were not considered citizens of the United States until the 1924 Snyder Act. Furthermore, Native people did not have the right to vote in Arizona until 1948, 3 years after the war ended. But yet many Native men joined to fight in the war. The Choctaw Nation was the first tribe recruited and used as vote officers by the U.S. military serving in France during World War I in 1918. While the Navajo vote officers of World War II are most famous, 33 other Native tribes, such as the Comanche, Choctaw, and Hopi, use their traditional languages to send secret messages during World War I and World War II. And today I will be talking about Tonto Apache Sweethearts, Paul Burdette. That's just a little brief history about where we came from, and where we originated. I don't know if very many people know that we are the smallest tribe in the state of Arizona. We number less than 200. Our population is currently approximately 180. We lose one and then we gain one. We lose one and then we gain one. So we never grow, it seems like. But anyway, this is about my own Burdette. Can you imagine being a young Tonto Apache man during World War II and leaving the beautiful mountains of central Arizona, being placed in the jungles of the Pacific Islands? You are Burdette, the first and only forefather. Uncle Paul grew up near the town of Pixon, Arizona, along the East Verde River, which the Tonto's name Puficho, place of the yellow water. At the time of World War II, Tonto Apache did not have status as a federally recognized Indian tribe, so Paul ended up enrolling with the Sweethearts Apache tribe. Shortly after enrolling in the tribe, he joined the United States Army. After completing basic training, he was recruited as part of the elite group of young men as communication specialists known as post office. After basic training, all post office recruits had to develop and memorize a unique military code using their unwritten language based in a garden room until the task was completed. After this, they were able to transmit unbreakable codes during the war and use their tribal language to send secret messages to the battlefield. Can you imagine how baffled the Japanese people were when they heard the language? They probably was wondering what in the world is this all English all about? But they could not break the code. Code talkers were given nicknames to protect their real identities in case their communication system was compromised. Uncle Paul's nickname was Rebel, while his partner Nelson Danford, a member of the White Mountain Apache tribe, was known as Tartar. Code talkers were assigned to work in pairs for military unit, and Rebel and Tartar were assigned to work together. In battle, one person would operate the portable radio, while the other person would relay and receive messages in the native tongue and translate them into English. Their work was highly dangerous, especially in the Pacific, because Japanese soldiers were deliberately target officers, medics, radiomen, and code talkers. Some code talkers revealed that they had bodyguards assigned to protect the code, and if captured of the code talker happened by the enemy, the bodyguard was under orders to shoot and kill the code talker. Thank God there have been no reports of this ever happening. Code talkers worked on the front lines and often had to carry and operate heavy equipment. Their living conditions were very harsh,
They endure the same dangers as other soldiers around them, sometimes going without food or sleep for 24 hours or even more, and living in tents and foxholes during combat. We can only imagine the stress of the battlefield and bonds of brotherhood forged between these heroes. Their code was never broken. Under their complex and written language as an unbreakable code, the code talkers transmitted vital military intelligence that proved impossible for the enemy to decipher. The code talkers were America's secret weapon and helped win the war for America. When the war was over, Paul returned home with some family, friends, and tribes. He married Roseland, Tonto Apache woman who had two kids, who had 3 daughters and a granddaughter, and he raised them as his own along with the 2 that they had. At home, he still did not tell what he had done during the war. Seeing the possibility that another war would break out, the government kept the program a secret for years and was left on hold in case the military ever had to use it again. We believe that was why he didn't talk much about what he did, what he saw when he was in the war. He was a patriot. He always displayed the American flag on his front porch for all to see. His character meant he would always be true to his native land, and that was what led him to fight for freedom. He was a generous man, and he lived next door to us. He was my mother's brother, and he would share whatever he had with us. Family members are proud of Paul for still serving as a code talker in World War II, and we are grateful for his help in preserving all our safety and freedom. You may have heard that despite their heroic contributions during the war, Native code talkers were told they had to keep their secret. And that was a secret that they never ever shared, never told anyone. I'm sure that a lot of the code talker families found that out after their beloved code talker may have passed. Well, there was some recognition in 1970s and 1980s. It wasn't until 2001 that congressional gold medals were given to the Navajo and other code talkers. The Code Talkers Recognition Act of 2008 authorized congressional gold medals to honor Native Americans from 33 tribes for their service in World War II. The act signed into law required the U.S. Fed to strike a unique gold medal for each qualified tribe and silver medals of individual code talkers. The family didn't learn of Uncle Paul's service as a code talker until a letter was received being invited to the United States Capitol to receive a congressional gold medal on his behalf in 2013. And this was way after he had already passed, and yet he never shared whatever, he never shared what he did as a code talker. So we were surprised. In a ceremony at the United States Capitol on November 20th, 2013, Congress bestowed its highest honor, the Congressional Gold Medal, on Native American code talkers, including the Tonto Apache tribe. The ceremony honored 33 tribes for their service as code talkers. All these tribal languages together from 33 tribes help the United States defeat its enemies. The family were dismayed after we received the notice that Uncle Paul was not properly recognized for his service until after his death. However, we still carry on an overwhelming sense of pride for the patriotism we showed by keeping the code as secret despite prejudice and hardship throughout his life. Though Native American people were the first living on the land, they were not recognized and considered citizens of the United States until 2024 Snyder Act. As a result of Uncle Paul's faithful secrecy, the first-hand experience were lost to history, leaving behind an empty silence where stories of patriotism and hardship should be. We want future generations to know that Uncle Paul proudly served in the military as a code talker with honor and dignity. We believe that if he were still with us, he would encourage all of our men to serve in the military and fight for what's right, for what they believe, and keep America free. He served in the U.S. Army as a code talker from November 10th, 1942, until he was honorably discharged on November 10th. And he passed away, unfortunately, on May the 28th, 1986, at the age of 65. Though he's no longer here with us, we honor his service and the sacrifices he silently carried until his passing. His legacy will live on in the Tonto Apache tribe in our hearts. And thank you for listening, and God bless you, God bless America, and Nahidia.
Wow, it was just such an amazing story, an amazing um resemblance of why we should remember each and every one who has served, because their story is not forgotten. And just another round of applause for Jerry. So to um I'm up next to explain Navajo Talk Day from a young professional. I am nowhere near a true professional, so I just want to say that right off the bat.
You're fine.
But my name is Brandon Piestewa. Like I said before, my mother was Lori Piestewa. She was the first Native American female to be killed overseas in combat, and it's a deep, heart wrenching story. It's something that I have to grow up with and live for the rest of my life. Um, but I just want to say that before I start, not Shea Brandon White, Shea Brandon Piestewa, Shea, not kidding, Flynn. Not station touching buses team, shush, shush, shade. Tapahan Dushanella. So my mother was Hopian Mexican from Tucson, Arizona. My father is the Red Running to the Water people. My maternal grandfather was Hopi and was Bear Clan from Second Mesa. And my paternal grandfather was the Edgewater people from the Insurrection Hills. And like I said, it's a true honor to stand before you guys today, to be given this wonderful opportunity to serve as your master ceremonies for this occasion. But more importantly, I am honored to be here as a young professional, a member of this community, and someone who believes deeply in the responsibility to remember, recognize, and share the stories of those who have served this great nation. Growing up, I did not have what would you call the most traditional childhood. I was a military brat. I was born on Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and you could say that I was born into this military community. My father served the military. My mother served during Operation Iraqi Freedom. My grandfather served in Vietnam, and my great grandfather served in World War II. Service to our country was not simply something I learned in a textbook. It was something I grew up surrounded by. From an early age, my family taught me that words like service, sacrifice, and freedom should never be used so lightly. Freedom comes with a cost, and behind every uniform is a person, a family, a story. When I lost my mom back in 2003, I was just 4 years old. I was introduced to a part of the military service that most children should never experience. I grew up attending memorials, ceremonies, and recognitions all over the country, from military installations to Native American communities, honoring my mother and countless other service members who have made that ultimate sacrifice. While many children might remember their childhood through family vacations at Disneyland, some of my earliest memories were standing at military memorials, attending ceremonies, and even laying the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in our nation's capital. At the time, I didn't fully understand how unique my childhood was. Because I had grown up around these ceremonies, I assumed every child understood what military service meant. I assumed everyone knew that the freedom was not free. I assumed everyone had grown up hearing stories of these men and women who have sacrificed so much for our country. Then, in fourth grade, I learned I was wrong. For a history assignment, I chose to do a presentation on the Navajo talkers. I talked about how the Navajo Marines used the Diné language to develop, transmit communications that helped the United States military during World War II. I was proud to share this. I was proud to share that piece of history. However, after my presentation, one of my classmates came up to me and told me that I had made the entire story up, that I just wanted to stand down in front of the class. But as a young kid, I didn't know how to respond. Those who know me and those who know that I've never been someone to naturally seek conflict. So instead of arguing, I went home and brought the conversation to the dinner table with my grandparents. That conversation changed something in me forever. My grandparents reminded me that the story of Native American military service did not end or begin with Navajo talkers. They taught me that there was Hopi code talkers, Comanche code talkers. They taught me that Native people from many different communities had served this country in their own ways, often using languages, knowledge, cultural identities to contribute to the defense of the nation that did not always recognize or respect them. That realization sparked something in me. It made me understand that remembering history is not simply about knowing names, dates, or battles. It's about making sure that the sacrifice of those who came before us are not forgotten. And that responsibility has stayed with me. As I've grown older, I've been through my own career. I realized that being a young professional in Northern Arizona gives me an opportunity and, in many ways, a responsibility to continue my work. Our community is surrounded by incredible stories of service. There are veterans among us who have served decades ago. There are service members who are serving today. There are families who continue to carry the legacy of loved ones who never came home. And there are young people growing up right now who may not understand those stories unless someone takes the time to tell them. This is why days like today matter. Navajo Code Talker Day, or Indigenous Code Talker Day, is not simply about looking backwards. It's about making sure we carry these stories forward. It's about recognizing the courage of the Navajo Marines who use their language to help protect our nation. It's about recognizing Indigenous code talkers and the many other Native American service members whose contribution deserve to be remembered. It's about recognizing every service member, past and present, whose willingness to serve has helped preserve the freedoms we have today. And it isn't about remembering that it is about remembering that behind every uniform is a human being. I want to share one final story that stayed through me throughout my life. When I was about 13 years old, my family and I had just attended a veterans memorial in Wisconsin. We were traveling back home to Arizona and we were waiting in the airport to board our flight. As a child, my grandparents had taught me that whenever I see a veteran wearing a military hat, uniform, or anything that represented their service, I should walk up to them, shake their hand, look them in the eye, and say, "Thank you for your service." So while I was waiting in the airport, I noticed a gentleman wearing a Vietnam hat. I walked up to him, tapped him on the shoulder, and said, "Excuse me, sir. Thank you for your service." I shook his hand. And it's something that happened I didn't expect that was going to happen at all. He looked at me as if he's seen a ghost, and he began to cry. I was 13 years old. I had no idea what I had just done to this gentleman. And then I remember thinking, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? So, like any nervous kid, I walked away and hid. I boarded the plane. I sat in my seat, phone, tablet, anything in front of my face so like he wouldn't see me. But as I got older, I began to understand what that moment meant. Maybe that man had not heard those words in years. Maybe people had forgotten for what he had done. Maybe nobody had ever stopped and said thank you. And perhaps a simple moment reminded him that someone remembered. That experience taught me something that I will carry to this day. We never truly know what someone has carried silently for years. Sometimes remembrance does not require a grand ceremony. Sometimes it is a handshake. Sometimes it is a story. Sometimes it is simply taking the moment to say, "I remember." And as I stand before you guys today as a young professional, I believe that one of the most important things we can do for our community is we have responsibility to remember those who have served before us. We have the responsibility to recognize those who serve today. And we have the responsibility to teach the next generation why their sacrifices matter. Because if we stop telling these stories, eventually they become forgotten. And when those stories disappear, so too the lessons they carry. So today, as we honor all Indigenous Go Talkers, let us remember and honor every Native American veteran, every service member, every military family, and every individual who has sacrificed for something greater than themselves. Let us remember their courage. Let us remember their sacrifice. And let us remember their stories. And most importantly, let us make sure the next generation remembers too. So it's an honor to stand with you guys today, and it is an even greater honor to help carry these stories forward. Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you all again. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, so I just want to remind you guys that there is delicious food up there, and I think lunch will be served pretty soon.
Yeah.
Wait. We see the wings. I hope she doesn't.
That's kind of an announcement. Lunch is gonna be here around 11:30. So once it's set up, you'll be welcome to go ahead and take part. However, in the meantime, you can visit our booths. We have lots of nice stuff, a lot of good information that you can take. I'd like to, if I could have at least if you want the tablers that are up here, I'll give you like 5 minutes to introduce who you are. what your table is about, that will help us, maybe have our audience know who you are, so they can come visit your table as well. So, and then after lunch, we'll have the Apache concerts as well. And then, but first, before we do that, I'd like to present some gifts to the color guards and board. And sometimes they take off early. And they have other things they need to do and whatnot, so I'd like to present them with a donation that we received. And to honor all the days and all the years that they've helped me, help us with the city of Flagstaff with this event. Honoring all Indigenous Nations celebration. We don't want to call it a day because it's more of a celebration to the benefits of all of our Indigenous co-talkers. And we just want to love and love who they are, who they've been, and how much they've changed our lives. So, and if we follow our families as well as those who serve them. So let me give the color guard a little bit of time. So if you need to reach out, that would be great.
Thank you. Thank you for having us today. We're appreciated. My name is Burdette, Sergeant at Arms with the Marine Corps League here in Flagstaff. I served in 1967 to 1969. I was medically retired because I got this August 5th, 1968. And hello. Anyway, I got it August 68. I was medically retired. I just appreciate all of you for saying thank you. It's really great. It really means a great thing to me. And I want to introduce Fred Martinez and Lori Piestewa. Just say thank you very much for inviting us here today. It's an honor to host college. First time we've done this, and I really don't look forward to it. I appreciate it. We continue, we served our time. I always say it's never over. We continue. I served in the Marine Corps from 1963, 1967. I went to a duty with Okinawa. I had to have 5 minutes. And I'm very fortunate. And thankful for being home. Part day, I was so for anything else, but my wife would tell you different. And thank you very much.
Hello, it's an honor to be here. My name is Lori Piestewa, born and raised here in Flagstaff. I live down at Temple. That's where I was born, raised there. Went to Frank High, went to Marshall School. Went to junior high when I was going. I graduated in 65. I moved to graduate in 67. We went to the same school again.
Yeah.
I was pretty much drafted into the service for the Army. I took a challenge. I went to the Marine Corps from 1966, 69. Spent my first year there in the States, over Camp June, 67, 68, and then my orders in Okinawa. I spent 17 months there. Luke and I have a kind of a military relationship. Yes, there in 68, the fifth of Thanksgiving. Lupe was down south with the fifth Marines. That way. I don't know if you heard of that way taken over by the NBA. I was up north, place called Queso, which we were under siege. For 77 days I was there. And never got a chance to meet my friend there in Lupe, but he got hurt really bad. Fortunately, I got wounded over there, but I made it home. Like I said, I was honored to be here. Did my time 3 years, 66, 69. Got out. Used the GI Bill, got my degree, secondary education. Again for having us here.
We're doing an honor color gardens of Lincoln's. And that's just because that was very appreciated. And everything we do for the community. You are a very precious part of our community. This is just our humble way to say thank you. Yeah. We normally will put the blanket over their left shoulder because that's where the man, the warrior will carry their shield. And then this side is where we do our hugs, we shake our hands, so this would be our peaceful side. This would be the warrior side.
At this time, we'd like the vendors to come up and see what to say anything about what they have. What they're doing. Don't be shy, guys.
You wait for your wait for your-
Good morning, my name is Chris David. I'm the CEO for Native Americans for Community Action. This is my speaking here. Can I just say this is a wonderful program, Randy, you did a good job, so thank you so much. We're a lot, Randy. Yes, another thing that's for Randy to be my hiring. So it's good to see some familiar faces here. So we also have our 37-year-old Dr. Dorothy over here. Can you stand up? She's also a knock. Everybody knows Dorothy here for a while. So I'm gonna give the mic over to Miss Lena really quickly. First of all, let me share my plans first of all as well. She ain't not extended touching his head, no one come out, that's the cheese. Chili chicken change off the month, that's kind of but I'm originally from Navajo, Arizona, so all you Hornets fans over there. Here we go.
Chieftains.
Yeah. Navajo gave an average function, that's just change, so then she be, that's just change over and on. That's another, a stone, my dog, my son, no, I'm not in the street. I know, my name is Selena Hogan. I work as a supportive service case manager for Native American for Community Action. And
the work that I do is being stationed at, the General Services of Administration over at Navajo, and we open our doors at 7:30 in the morning. Usually unsheltered relatives are waiting to be, wherever they come in, needing, it could be from a sack lunch, it could be from hygiene bags, CPE bags, it could be a sleeping bag, a shoes, a jacket, what have we serve, anyone that comes through, general services. But, I just want to extend my appreciation for the invite, and, we're here with our team, our CEO, Chris David, as well as Omelia Shoshan, and they will introduce and do talk about the work that they do. Thank you.
Good morning, so I am originally from Cuba. I'm born in Cuba. My family immigrated to the United States in 1974. And I lived in California, and then after I grew up, I was married to my own. I moved to Arizona in 1999. I've been in Arizona since. I've been working with NACA for about 2 years now. I work for the Reach Back program, which is a suicide prevention program for youth. And I'm happy to be here. This is my first year doing in this new celebrations. I'm happy to be here.
Hello, yeah, it's Annabelle. It's wonderful. Good morning, everyone. I have to walk around and not someone to do that in front of everyone, but Yat Ed, Shea, Shoshana, James, Initiate. Asher, the Chinical, Jimmy, Bush's Chin, Tadas that they dash go, Tofan and Dash Nana, Arthur Alden, son, a month listener. If you can't tell, I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I served. I served over in Okinawa, Japan for pretty much the entirety of my service. I have been with NACA with the Reach Your Life Suicide Prevention Program since 2023. And so a lot of what we do in the program is providing education regarding suicide prevention. And that's for specifically for youth in our Native communities. And so, yeah, that's why we're here today. Come by our table, we're over in the corner. If you want to know more information about what we provide for the community and the services that we provide in the school as well. So nice to be here. Yeah, Terry, the ancient. Nash, as if that she in Hanalani, but she's cheap. So that Janae, that should change. What did Janae, that's I am here today. I am the lead coordinator for the Navajo Topper Descendant Committee, and we will be having our event on August 14th in Window Rock. And thank you for all the co-talkers of the Indigenous co-talkers. I didn't know a lot about, but I do follow a lot of my Navajo co-talkers. And I have a couple people here with me. We have on the boom stand, we put up our banner, the post talkers that went to Iwo Jima, and then we have our flags up, and then we have one of the recognized post talkers that we recognized like a couple months ago as a museum. But I do correlate a lot of the Navajo post talker event in Window Rock, and we are only combat post talker we have left is Thomas H. the Gay. And he's 101 right now. So he'll be coming on the, let's see, 15th to Flagstaff. So if you guys are in the area, come meet him. It's an honor. It really is an honor to be doing this for the Code Talkers. My grandfather always said, carry our legacy on, because who else is going to do it for us? And he always says, freedom ain't free.
And the thing that my grandpa Thomas H. Brigade tells me is carry the legacy, carry it. So that's what I'm here to do today for the Navajo Food Hunters. And then I have some people here with me. And one thing that Thomas H. Brigade always says to me is like, keep going. They're gonna forget about us. Teach our younger generation. So if you guys have the time, if you guys are in the Wonder Rock area, come out and honor them with us. And then we're doing another event in Phoenix, Veterans Day. Come on out. Come honor the toe toppers with us. So that's who I am, and I live here in Flagstaff, so I try to get to all these toe topper events. But it's really nice to meet people and see people honoring other indigenous toe toppers, and we can't forget them. And in our language, they say the one saying a toe topper always said is that, and this is what Thomas H. Gay said. They were married at the time, but they were enlisted in the army, he said, in the Marines. And the thing that the story I carry with me is what Thomas says is like, after war, they didn't know what they were doing. And they said, "Tien, karago, tien, keyango." And that was their main thing is like, we want to make it home. And to this day, that really touches my heart. And then they said, "Tien, namaste, let's go home." And that's what brought them home. It's the prayers and the family. So thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jeri, for the words that you have offered. I want to thank also the veterans who have acknowledged themselves and non-survivors. Thank you, those who that work at non-survivors. I think that it's a wonderful organization and Chris, you're doing a fantastic job. Appreciate everything you're doing. Very important to serve our Native American Indigenous peoples from Flagstaff and surrounding areas. I served as a board member of NAMPA for about 12 or 15 years, and Rose, I know that you've done an awful lot. Just really honor you for sacrificing many years and giving so much for this organization. You've done an excellent job. Also, I'd like to let you know that my name is Joan Kirk Gilmore. Joan Kirk Gilmore, finish yet. So Pattinson, a bunch of change. Senate didn't make them change. Yeah, I'll need to know it. The minutes down. I'll go. I'll go. I am say my grandmother's my son. So when obviously my parents worked at the Navajo Army Depot, Belmont. My sister Gloria Moore and I were born at the Belmont Army Hospital, and we lived at the Indian camp. Along with other young that spoke this morning, and we our family moved into town about a year or so after I was born, and I went to Mount Elm Elementary, went to East Lake Junior High, Coconino High School, graduated in September 1969. So I'm proud of the first graduating class, but I'm homegrown, and I returned after working in New Mexico for over 22 years among our Navajo people. I'm an educator for about 50 to 60 years, and I know many of you out there in the audience that have served in this community and also with our Native people, whether it was in education or other. But my father, I'm so proud to be here today because we are bringing information and sharing it about George Kirk, George Harlan Kirk Sr. I had a brother who was George Harlan Kirk Jr. who passed away after 9 months from birth from the booming call while my father was at war. And it was a very sad time for him. Of course, if you did not know, my father was a coach on her until 1968. I believe that's when Congress passed the law that now begin to talk about coach offer. I believe it was March or April of 1968. And on that day, when that happened, I was in high school. My sister was a senior. I was a junior. And my father told my mom we're gonna have a meeting after dinner. So she told my sister and I, we sat in the living room. And a meeting called by dad was a serious deal. We thought, do something? No. Should we do something? No. Okay, so my dad sat us down and he said, you know, I want to share something with you that I just found out today. That was passed by law. And that's what the floodgates open. And I can't speak for all of that families, but I can only imagine that similar situations that occurred in many homes on the Navajo and with family. But one story I do recall, I had a conversation with my father. Was a question I had asked of him was, Dad, why did you go off to war with the U.S. Marine Corps when we as Navajos, Native Americans, were taken by force through the Roman Walk and other tribes, and we were hunted down by the U.S. cavalry and mistreated? And why did you think that you could just go to war and, you know, kill people for them? And he said, that's not the idea. He said, my brothers in the Marine Corps, our Navajo brothers, we all knew why we were there. The bottom line was we were and understood, were told that the enemy, their main goal was to take our Mother Earth. That was their goal. And we were not going to allow that to happen. Our Mother Earth means so much to us. We are traditional Navajo. That's just not going to happen. So we went to war, we enlisted, we did whatever we needed to do so that we could come home, like Thomas began at Sheriff of Perry. And it just brought just the scope of new meaning to me. But I could understand it. I could see it. I can see it now. And I'm just so proud of my father. My mother was Beatrice Sinigine Kirk, and she worked at the Army Hospital as a nurse. And then they needed more people in administrating, so she transferred her skills at the telephone operator, administrative assistant, and teletype operator. And they both retired from the Navajo Army Depot with about 40 years of service or more. But my father was born in Venado. He could not speak English. He did not choose to go to school. His father said to him at the age of 14, he said, son, it's time for you to pick a name. He said, you're going to have to go to school. The BIA people have come to see and they're all over and it's time. So my grandfather took my father to Fort Lyons, Arizona, and enrolled him into the Bureau of Indian Affairs school there. He was enrolled in the 5-year program. Some of you may know the 5-year program. And as if you are going in as a 14-year-old, you would come out with a trade, an apprentice somewhere. You would also have a high school diploma. And that's what my father did. And he did his apprenticeship in Luke, Arizona, where he met my mom. All of them, my mom, all our relatives are in the Padre Canyon area, Canyon Navajo area. And I come from Sida genealogy of Castagnazis, and their children are Flora Smith and Betty Smith, Lorraine Yazzie, and Patricia Pete. Also, my uncle Henry Yazzie was a Vietnam veteran. And I have numerous relatives that are still alive, and we're very big family. But my sister and I were raised traditionally as well as in a Christian way. But I just wanted to share with you stories that I had about my father. My father was a rancher, and he also was talk about Navajo talking. He kind of went down the stream with Raymond Nakai, who was our chairman back in the 50s, 60s, I believe it was. And they were very close, and they had a cadre of Navajo men and women that were following the new regime, so to speak, the good people that wanted to make sure that our government was run well. So Raymond Nakai was voted in as the chairman of the Navajo Nation. And then my father took over Raymond Nonkai's job. And some of you may have heard me say that my father and Raymond Nonkai used to work for KCLS in Flagstaff, 600 on your dials every morning. They would give their mobile news, and they would say 5:30 to 6 every morning for about 20 some years. And after my father left the station, then he went got involved with Cha'Be'Tu KFAC, and he became a news reporter. And you would see him every morning about 5:30 or 6 every morning. He would bring the news of the Navajo Nation on camera to people on the reservation who had a television. He did that for about 7 or 8 years. And then he finally retired from that job. He was also a council delegate and a chapter president as well. But I would just want to say that just wonderful that we can recognize our Native American Indigenous tribal members and families who have lived through and known military in their own way of how they celebrate not only their tribal culture, but their language and also just the way that they go about life. And I'm just proud of our young people today. Very proud of Mr. Piestewa. And it just brings a lot of, it's like a bittersweet. And I just can imagine, only imagine in your life of a lifetime. But we just all know that Lori Piestewa is deep in our hearts, and we miss her greatly, but she's honored greatly. Again, thank you, family members, for being here today. I know I recognize the family members of Lori Piestewa. So I don't have any more to say, but you're welcome to come and visit our table. I also want to acknowledge Gerald States, our relative on my father's side. My father's half brother was Fred Lincoln from Bread Springs, south of Gallup, and his wife Yolanda. They have been instrumental in having us create floats for the Coat Talker Day, which was last year, and also they've been involved in the floats that we did, and we were in the parade, the Navajo Nation last year, Shiprock Parade, and I think maybe we'll go for another parade this year. I'm not sure, but I just want to acknowledge Gerald and his family because they're very, very dear to our family as well. And as we go through life, we're going to find more relatives that are related to us and what we have done for our people. They are serving us as well. So I just appreciate everyone's presence today. Enjoy yourself. Just get to know one another, and just don't forget how we can continue to grow and love one another as well. Have a good day. Good afternoon. I am the energetic gas in Michigan. Chicken is stress. I think you do that's just chicken. Central question trade is a profession. I'm originally from Research Springs, but I live here in Flagstaff, and I've been here for about 30 years. So I raised my family here, I'm a full-time artist here. Things are amazing, yeah, different events. But I'm very involved in community schools. I share a lot of my roots of my upbringing through my work, and my parents are Japanese Indigenous from Research Springs, and I was born and raised on the Navajo reservation. And I graduated from Holbrook High School and went to college in Holbrook as well. And then I came out here and went to college, community college as well. Yeah, so I'm just very pleased, very honored to be asked to be part of this event. It really means a lot. My background is like my father served as well. My father he served in Vietnam. He was a airborne ranger, and they were called a bird, so he used to jump out of airplanes. And that was like one of the he's no longer with us, but I just want to honor him. And a lot of people that serve. It really means a lot just to be here. And
I have my sisters too. They both served in the Navy. One of them retired from the Navy. She did 22 years and she's retired now. She's after me and, you know, she's seen a lot and it was a lot of support. So, at one time in my life when I was still single, trying to find my path in this life, I actually was going to join the service. I was going to join the Navy and I had everything set up, but I went and took a college at the college and while I was there, I was supposed to take a test like 2 weeks later and I met my husband. I met my husband in art class and it was just nothing. And the teacher paired us up and you know, and that was it. so so he's my life and then we raised a family. So I'm here. So I just had to figure out my life as well because you know, you don't know what kind of path you're gonna have. They're gonna set in front of you. And my calling was art. So a lot of the stuff that I do is based on my upbringing and how I used to hang out with my grandma a lot when I was little. So I put that in my work, like to share a lot of stuff that I've been brought up with. I'm not really traditional. So my grandpa was a medicine man though, and my grandma was a weaver. So I had to learn a lot from just, you know, so I didn't go to school for art, like officially, professionally. So a lot of the stuff that you see is self-taught. So I taught myself to work with acrylic, watercolor. I do wood burning. I do a lot of other, anything art, that's me. So, so I decided just to take that more into the profession and now I do it as professionally. And just the journey itself has been wonderful. Last year I went to Europe. I went to Vienna, Austria, and that was great. You know, I didn't know art could do that for you. And I always like to encourage kids that are in art that art can actually be a passion. You can actually do it for living and just more things that you love sharing your stuff, but you're actually putting yourself out there. And I like to share its colors and it's been a great journey. I'm continuing to do it. I have so many opportunities that's been opening for me. But yeah, stay tuned. I have a lot of big stuff happening for me this year. And if you follow me, you'll see it on my page. And maybe I'll see some of my bigger events this coming weekend is the Santa Fe Flea Market. If you happen to be out there this past weekend, I live there. I will be on Lincoln Street. And my number is 774. That is a I have a lot of amazing pieces that I've been working on and I enjoy what I do. And thank you so much for having me be here. This is a great honor to be asked to sit up here, even though I have a little small stuff. And I was getting ready for Santa Fe, but thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much. And just thank you so much for everybody that has served and been out there to see the world to protect us. It really means a lot. Yeah. Ja, ben het.
Okay.
Jeri DeCola initiative not present. That's what it should be like. Send that shit possession. Jay, yeah, I was leadership. I am from Arizona, but I was raised for the Flagstaff Festival. I am a Panther. I am a first gen graduate from Northern Arizona University.
All right.
I just obtained my bachelor's degree at public health this past December.
Oh,
Was
right.
to receive the Distinguished Senior Award. Thank you. Not only for the program, but I was awarded the program, the department, and the college. So now I'm using my public health degree to provide outreach and community engagement with Lori Piestewa home care. We are a non-medical volunteer. My main focus is towards Navajo and Hopi Reservation. So I travel to the reservation. I travel to communities, chapter meetings, senior centers, events, building those relationships and connections. And work very closely with the veteran organizations on the reservation as well. So really trying to create connections and build those relationships, share information about our agency. One thing that we were able to do this just recently was obtain a contract with TriWest, which is going to be headquarters on Ontario and so forth. So I'm very excited about that. We also have contracts with other NCOs, Little Banner Health, United Healthcare, Mercy Care. I think that name, all of that's a lot. So, but I am thankful for allowing me to set up a booth there to share information. Thank you to a huge thank you to those who have served. I also have, I also was supposed to join the military after high school. I was supposed to go into the United States Army as a medic. But once my mom heard about it, she was like, no, I'm not going. Like, I could have been a nurse by now. But I am fortunate because due to my mom saying no, I met my ex-husband who also served in the US Army. So I know the life of a military spouse. Oh my gosh, military spouse. My daughter was born at Fort Hood, Texas, and my two boys were born here in Flagstaff. But I do know the life, the transitions, the movement, the constant movement, transitioning from coming home to deployments, and then transition of the spouses, whether those that have served, coming home after active duty and transitioning to civilian life. It is hard. It is challenging, and I just want to just say again, thank you to those who have served. It can't have to be solved. And that's all I have. Please see it.
Good morning. This is definitely a time for remembrances and for stories. And I will share a short story of a young boy from the East Coast whose parents were missionaries and moved to the Navajo Nation when he was very young. He grew up on mission, he grew up in the Cardinals, he grew up in American language. And when this small boy grew up and went to college, he left Arizona and returned afterwards. And the gentleman's name is Philip Johnston. Some of you may be familiar with him. Philip Johnston built the unbreakable hotel far east side of town back in the mid-30s. Small motel, typical Route 66 hotel. When war broke out, he signed up, joined the U.S. Marines, became a tech sergeant. Somewhere during his career, he helped to found the U.S. Marines Post Office. He used his relationships, his knowledge of the language, his friends on the nation to recruit the gentleman that would serve as many coach honors. He used the motel for training meetings or academies and so on. Why I am here is for those who live in town, or those who travel through our streets. You'll notice that the old motel is for sale. After years of failed attempts to develop it, the owner is finally selling it. And I am leading a citizens initiative working in partnership with Habitat for Humanity of Northern Arizona to purchase the motel, restore it, and to convert it for affordable housing. Because all of us know how expensive it is to live here. And there are hardworking families just starting out, first responders, teachers, healthcare professionals, folks that can actually afford to live in the town that they serve. And that's the folks that we hope to help with this project. So I have a booth in the back with information, and I be happy to answer all your questions. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for the veterans for serving, for taking care of us. Keep us safe.
So at this time, we're just gonna take a little break. Feel free to walk around, get some fresh air, look at the vendors and everything like that. Lunch should be here pretty soon, so make sure you guys are hungry.
Hungry Gerald.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I scared you so.
Yeah, I got that pretty far. She said, go ahead and start. It's crazy. I'm tired. Yeah.
I'm still like,
Yeah. Is it incredible? She was like she I'm excited. That's what she was saying. Every time she actually talked 6 weeks. And that's what.
yeah, we'll see that.
So this is. So. Where you going? For the night, again, so she does that.
Yeah.
Thursdays. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I have the tapes. Yeah. Yeah, it's like. Yes, so I got those tapes. Set tapes, and then I got the. Well, yes. There,
Feel like
Sundays. Yeah, that's one thing. It's just I love playing with this. It's short. So it's just loose. It's just yes, so I do like. Yeah, I do. Yeah, they're not like. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. When first I got there, it's like, okay. Yeah.
Doctorate, wow. I think we can see
I know.
Just. See, take care. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chandra. Nice to meet you.
Oh, man. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much.
Yeah. I guess I'm on the top of it. Okay, yeah.
Guys, thank you for serving me. Yes, I did. And I think you're getting
Is he still? Yeah. Big facts. They didn't know, like, we're in a familiar. Yeah.
The way he said it, it's like, it's a big deal.
See you again. I think to see you back. Yes. I took care of you. Right back. Or not.
Yeah. I haven't. Yeah, like that. We're so fixing.
No, I look forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I try.
Table, chips, and chips and. It's a big song. I said, oh, So much. And just know the tips. So then we did those. I'd like to call Evan and Barker from the county attorney's office. And I'd like to share and some friends.
Good morning. My name is Evan Barker. I'm the Coconino County Attorney. And Rose invited me to speak a little bit about a peacemaking program that we started with the county attorney's office. This was years in the making. We just launched it last week. For those of you who don't know, peacemaking is an alternative dispute resolution. Originated with Navajo Nation. They've been using it for hundreds of years. And in the court system currently in tribal court, we've never had peacemaking in state court, as far as I know, anywhere in the country. And we decided as the county attorney's office, along with some of our partners with the Indigenous Circle, Flagstaff, with the Indigenous Initiatives Committee that Rose leads, and with the Navajo Nation Judicial Branch, that we would try to partner to bring peacemaking to some of our state court cases. And we finally reached an agreement with the Navajo Nation Judicial Branch to do that. And what this means is some of our cases, some of our criminal cases that originate here in Coconino County and or in Flagstaff, we will allow some of these folks to opt into some restorative practice through the peacemaking. Well, they will meet with a peacemaking official from the Navajo Nation. And if they're successful in that process, and if they meet the commitments that they made during the peacemaking, that we will either not bring a charge or we will dismiss a charge. It won't be for every case, every prosecution, but we hope that it will make a difference in people's lives. And I won't tell you the whole story of how I was personally affected by this process, but I had a case years ago where peacemaking was used, and it really made a huge impact on the victim of that case and the defendant. And they were able to find healing together. And that's really what we hope will happen with this program. So I really want to shout out Rose for her advocacy. She really opened the door to a lot of this. She introduced absolutely every day we should be applauding Rose because she does amazing. But she really opened the door to the conversation and brought cultural training to the county attorney's office, allowed us to understand people better and the humanity behind the people and the cases that we prosecute every day. So if you want more information, I'm happy to talk about it. But you can also visit our website, and we're going to have some information on there. It's coconino.az.gov/county attorney. And we're really excited. Hopefully we can make some differences in people's lives. Thank you.
So just, these are some of the things that we're looking, that we're really using in our communities. To serve our Indigenous relatives as well as all the community members within our, within Brookhaven County. So, just very proud of the support that we have from our leadership for the city and at the county, and I really appreciate that. They listen to us and they listen to some of the ideas that we have and what has worked in years, especially with these things. So, yeah. I just also want to, again, before we have lunch, just thank our sponsors, Arizona Complete Health, as well as Artisans Kitchen. They're responsible for, and the city of Flagstaff responsible for our lunch today. And then there's, Artisans Kitchen has been so awesome. They really reduced the amount of money that they normally would get, so that we can have the food that we have. And then, Derek Electric, one of our commissioners, has his own business for like all the drinks. And then Tonto provided all the drinks and as well as the breakfast items that you had this morning. Of course, we also want to say a special thank you to the United States Marine Corps and the Marine Corps Navy that is here that did our color guard. So we are really thankful for them. And then also Indigenous Circle of Flagstaff, were really helpful in getting payments for our vendors. And that will be the same thing for the Indigenous Circle of Flagstaff. I mean, Indigenous Peoples Day. And then the money that's raised usually there will be for whatever picking that we use, so that we're not so much for the vendors. So thank you for all the support, appreciate it. And so I want to go ahead and call all the veterans first to go first through the lunch line. Start on the other side, the east side, and we'll be served. After the veterans, we'll call all the elders. Again.
That's funny. I call you. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's
Really good.
Don't forget.
So the elders.
And then when I call, sorry.
What's your name? Make sure that we have good, I'm live streaming for people who aren't here. Capturing content and hopefully sharing it later. That's
Yeah, happy to be. That was nice. I love those. Isn't it nice? And it makes it talks in line. Oh, yeah. I think. Yeah. Come on, guys. So exhausting. Are gonna all over the place. I was last Thursday, I was in this gala for the time ceremonial. Part of that committee, and then I went down to Havasu, being part of the beach festival. I came back yesterday, like, and then my daughter's like, "Mom, I gotta go." I had to wake up early, drop her off at the high school, and then I came here. So now I'm thinking about my bed. Right. It's calling out to you, I bet. Yeah, but all my other people are calling me for the other event. For the next event. I don't know how you get to know your secret.
She's motivated.
Right now, I'm gonna get down and goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like over there. Listen, so, like, they don't know anything about that out there.
Good, hold on. Then you're.
Wasn't a lot. Oh, that's a foreign. And then I told Tom today, I'm thinking about it and dance soup fight.
Oh, you are?
I'm so glad you're doing that. I think that's all I have. I don't know if I want to start. I want to, then at the same time, it's like, hold on. That's odd. Really? You know, I just messed up. No, remember? What do you mean, no, not the Navajo Nations, really. Yeah. That was so fun. You know what the big meeting? Was it all the meeting? Mike? Nobody, Gerald, and her. The only guys, you know, I'm even know was. Yeah. And Gerald was one of the- Yeah. Okay, she's yeah. And her part of it was too now. It's like, yeah, we're down to the last in. We kept talking. How about this? How about this? Yeah. Now the people that are oh, now they're saying this and that. This and that. I'm like, the whole time they said stuff, I just left it alone. Slate down. Yeah, change this, change that. She said, oh, I'm like, I don't make the final decision. We discussed it. But they'll get on this, they'll give us our vision for these students. So this is honest to last year, he was the only big help. Okay, Jerry, let's. No, like half asleep and then he's like, what are we doing? But now this is like dying out and it's like, okay, the time you guys went through a complaint that co-talk it. They the other day they on their best and for they're not there. That's what I was talking about. So that's amazing. And now Thomas calls and says, how about this? He's got my motivation goes to get. They're gonna be here on Saturday. Oh, yeah. So you guys try to help the people. They're gonna be the one thing they're gonna acknowledge him. Okay. So if you're around, because I don't know if I'm gonna make it out of it Friday. For all the set up. Oh no. The cleanup. So if you can, if you're here, just say you're here on the past the. I don't think honestly, I don't think I'll make it because they said that they're gonna have to come to tables and chairs on Saturday. I'm kind of telling Friday after, but the big Saturday. Oh, so I have to keep an eye out on everything so I know what's what.
The thing about it too, young Marine, you don't get help. Too young, and you get help. That's not. Yes. Set up like a translation for this. There is somebody say it.
I think they're like an improvement about 100. It's like 200 young Marines that it's young, they're being helping out. It's like we started what 2 months after, huh? 2 months after. Yeah, definitely kept calling these guys like, how about this? How about this? And we just kept like, and like I got this, you know, we just left the other group alone because it was all nonsense. I'm not gonna do nonsense. I'm not gonna argue. That's how I looked at it. Yeah. So and we killed it. Regardless of who you say. Remember, I have nothing against them. I think it would work for them, but they didn't. And I got. They put me in I want to start with and you forget it. She never gets out. I gave her the Zoom meeting. I sent it to your Facebook. I sent it to you. But they yell at it now. I'm tired of trying to. I don't know. So after that, I was like, and I was furious, and then I just calmed myself down, and then I called this one. And she was like, no, I'm not gonna take it after me. Like, I just looked at it like, we're done. And come home, getting all the. And so now, as they send her, she's all emailing me. The basic. And I go, why isn't he? How can I help something? So now she's doing from all the best stuff. I think they'll go back to life. In Zoom, a library up there.
What about? Seminar.
We do the culture. I'm glad, yeah.
That's what I was telling you. I go, the guy I know, just have sick. And he is here. So, I was speaking that once I get but and then you will. Yeah. They're good at that.
Yeah.
I'm moving Thursday morning. The window drops.
Yeah.
Early in the morning. 6
Really, really.
We got main float, remember, yeah. With the main float, and then you guys are all following. They let by no gold Martin, you know. Mine, and you're talking, yeah, you guys are going back. There. Money. Yeah. I didn't have time to spend the week and I went down there. I was like, oh my gosh, I was just rushing some paper. I was like, yes, it is. Maybe not this member of mine. Slide. Yeah, I did. I know this guy's not. I'm just. I want to genius.
Yeah.
I'm
stuck over the junior club, one fair, but it was, oh. I lost it. Yeah, I got another phone.
Well, I can give you her phone number. Yeah, I will, I will.
Can't believe that restaurant burned down, so. Yeah, I was.
It's not only the restaurants, but also the insurance. It might have something to do with gas or something that's. Line or something. No, really. Well, that's too bad. Waiting for the the king of the music was sitting there with the look on top. They got arts and craft show. Oh, no, so, no, it's okay. My daughter. Right there. Okay. Yeah. My right hand person's in the hospital. See what you just. I know it's stressed him out. Stressed him out. I call him. Oh, be nigga, and for taking. I went back. I was at DR. What?
Start. Strange things up.
It will essentially just put you over. Yeah, they shot.
What you guys know about Cha'Be'Tu Apache Sweethearts and Cha'Be'Tu Apache Sweethearts, now be the formation. So we got to make this drop off.
Oh, that's
That's what the first, right? Then you need to, you're gonna provide, right, you know, you have a right, blue and green, green, just then the green is that's out here. Blue, just turn into water, that's something. Then one time. Of course.